The meeting room aboard the UES Defiance felt cold despite the warm air flowing through the vents. Lisa Carter stood at attention near the large table where the senior officers sat. Her tablet held months of research, data that made her stomach twist with worry. She had requested this meeting 3 times before the general finally agreed to see her. General Paul Martinez sat at the head of the table, his gray hair perfectly styled and his uniform crisp. He looked bored already, checking his watch as if he had more important things to do. Captain Jake Morrison sat to his right, while Colonel Amy Foster took notes on her own tablet. 2 other commanders filled the remaining seats. "Lieutenant Commander Carter," the general said without looking up from his coffee. "You said this was urgent. What do you have for us?" Lisa stepped forward and activated the wall display. Images of space appeared, showing star charts and energy readings. "Sir, for the past 4 months, I have been tracking unusual activity in the Kepler 442 system. What we are seeing is not normal Zephyrian raider movement." The general finally looked up, his expression showing mild interest. "Go on." "The energy signatures are different, bigger, more organized." Lisa changed the display to show ship formation patterns. "These are not small raiding parties. Something large is gathering beyond the asteroid belt. Very large." Captain Morrison leaned forward. "How large are we talking about?" "Based on the energy readings and gravitational disturbances, I estimate at least 200 ships. Maybe more." Lisa's voice grew stronger as she presented her evidence. "But that is not the worst part. These ships are not just Zephyrian. The energy patterns show at least 5 different types of technology working together." General Martinez laughed, a short bark that made Lisa's chest tighten. "Commander Carter, with respect, the Zephyrians can barely organize a 3-ship raid without shooting each other. You are suggesting they have formed some kind of grand alliance?" "Sir, the data clearly shows. The data shows energy readings and ship movements. That is all." The general stood up, walking to the display. "In my 30 years of military service, I have seen countless false alarms. Officers who see patterns where none exist. The Zephyrians are raiders, not conquerors. They hit fast and run faster." Colonel Foster spoke up. "General, what if Commander Carter is right? What if this is something new?" Martinez waved his hand dismissively. "Then we will deal with it when it happens. But I will not panic our forces over phantom fleets and imaginary alliances." He turned to Lisa. "Commander, I appreciate your dedication, but you are seeing threats that do not exist." Lisa felt her jaw clench. She had expected doubt, but not complete dismissal. "Sir, the colonies in the outer rim are sitting targets. If this fleet moves against them, if. The general returned to his seat. "Commander Carter, you have been tracking space dust and comet trails. The Zephyrians do not have the technology or the brains for what you are suggesting." The other officers remained quiet, though Lisa could see uncertainty in their eyes. Captain Morrison looked like he wanted to say something but stayed silent. Colonel Foster had stopped taking notes and was staring at the display. "Sir, I request permission to move our patrol ships closer to the asteroid belt. If we could get better readings." "Request denied." Martinez's voice carried the tone of finality. "I will not waste resources chasing shadows. This meeting is over." Lisa stood there for a moment, her research dismissed with a few words. The months of careful observation, the sleepless nights analyzing data, all pushed aside because the general could not believe the Zephyrians were capable of more than simple raids. "Sir, I respectfully ask that you reconsider. The evidence suggests nothing more than normal space traffic." Martinez was already gathering his papers. "Commander Carter, you are a fine intelligence officer, but you are letting your imagination run wild. Focus on real threats, not fantasies." The room began to empty as the officers filed out. Captain Morrison paused next to Lisa's chair. "Good work on the analysis," he said quietly. "Very thorough." "But not believed," Lisa replied. Morrison shrugged. "The general knows best. He has more experience than all of us combined." After everyone left, Lisa remained in the empty meeting room, staring at her data on the wall display. The energy readings were real. The ship movements were real. The threat was real, whether the general believed it or not. She thought about the colonies on New Denver and Port Arthur. Families living their lives, building homes, raising children. They trusted the military to protect them. They believed that someone was watching for threats, ready to sound the alarm when danger approached. Lisa gathered her tablet and walked back to her quarters. The ship hummed around her, a sound that usually brought comfort but now felt hollow. She passed crew members in the hallways, young men and women who trusted their commanders to make the right decisions. In her small cabin, Lisa sat at her desk and opened her files again. The data had not changed. The threat was still there, growing larger each day. But what could she do when the man in charge refused to listen? She pulled up the personnel files for the outer colonies. Thousands of people, including many military families. If her analysis was correct, they had perhaps a week before the gathering fleet would be ready to move. Maybe less. Lisa made a decision. She would continue monitoring the signals, gathering more data. When the attack came, and she was certain it would come, she would be ready with everything needed to fight back. The general might not believe her now, but he would have to listen when the shooting started. She opened a new file on her computer and began typing. If the worst happened, if the colonies fell and the fleet moved toward Earth, someone would need to know exactly what they were facing. Someone would need to understand how the enemy worked, how they communicated, how they could be stopped. The general had called her research fantasies and shadows. Soon he would learn that some shadows were very real, and some fantasies were nightmares waiting to come true. 3 days passed like any other aboard the UES Defiance. Morning drills, routine patrols, and standard reports filled the hours. General Martinez reviewed supply lists and approved training schedules. The war seemed far away, just another day, managing humanity's defense against small-time raiders and pirates. Lisa Carter had not slept well since the meeting. She spent her off-duty hours in the intelligence center, watching the sensor feeds from the outer rim. The energy readings were getting stronger. Whatever was gathering in the Kepler 442 system was almost ready to move. At 0800 hours, the first alarm sounded. Lieutenant Danny Walsh burst into the command center, his face pale and his hands shaking. "General, we have lost contact with New Denver Colony." Their last transmission was cut off mid-sentence. Martinez looked up from his morning coffee. "Equipment failure?" "No, sir. The transmission showed weapon fire, explosions, then nothing." The general frowned and activated the main display. The tactical map showed the outer colonies as green dots scattered across the star systems. New Denver's indicator blinked red. "Send a patrol ship to investigate." "Sir, we tried. The patrol ship UES Ranger was dispatched 40 minutes ago. They reached the colony and transmitted one message. Multiple hostile contacts requesting immediate, then their signal went. Dead too." Lisa felt ice form in her stomach. She stepped forward. "General, this matches the attack pattern I predicted. If the fleet from Kepler 442 has moved..." "Not now, Commander." Martinez was studying the display, his confident expression beginning to crack. "Walsh, contact Port Arthur Colony. Get me a status report." Walsh tried for several minutes. His radio, calls met with static. Finally, a weak signal came through. The voice was panicked, full of background noise and explosions. "This is Port Arthur. We are under attack. Massive ships, unknown design. They are bombing everything. Request immediate assistance. Please, someone help us." The transmission ended in a burst of static. The command center fell silent except for the hum of electronics. General Martinez stared at the tactical display as Port Arthur's indicator joined New Denver in blinking red. 2 colonies, thousands of people gone in a matter of hours. "Sir," Captain Morrison's voice was tight with control. "The UES Liberty was patrolling near Port Arthur. They have not responded to any calls." Lisa walked to her station and pulled up the data she had been gathering. "General, the attack is happening exactly as the pattern suggested. The fleet that gathered in Kepler 442 has moved against our outer colonies. Based on their speed and direction, they will reach the middle colonies within 18 hours. Martinez turned to look at her, his face showing the first signs of real fear. "How many ships are we facing?" "At least 300, sir. Probably more. And they are not just Zephyrian raiders. Lisa brought up her analysis on the main screen. The energy signatures show 6 different types of technology. 6 different species working together as one fleet. Colonel Foster had gone completely pale. 6 species? How is that possible? Someone has united them, Lisa said. Someone with enough power and influence to bring together races that have fought each other for centuries. This is not random raiding. This is conquest. The general sank into his chair, the weight of his mistake beginning to settle on his shoulders. Options. Give me options. Captain Morrison checked his tactical systems. We have 18 ships in the area, including the Defiance. The enemy fleet outnumbers us 15-1. What about Earth fleet? 12 hours away at best, sir. The colonies will be gone long before they arrive. Lisa stepped closer to the command table. Sir, I need to tell you something else. During my months of monitoring, I discovered something important about how this enemy fleet operates. They have a weakness. Martinez looked up at her with desperate hope. What kind of weakness? Their coordination system. 6 different species cannot communicate directly with each other. They use a central relay system that translates between their languages and thought patterns. The system works, but it creates a delay in command transmission, about 2.3 seconds. How does that help us? Lisa took a deep breath. If we can disrupt that relay system, their fleet becomes 6 separate forces that cannot talk to each other. Their greatest strength becomes their greatest weakness. The general stood up slowly, his hands gripping the edge of the table. Can we reach this relay system? It will be on their command ship, heavily defended and surrounded by the entire fleet. A suicide mission. Yes, sir. For whoever attempts it. Martinez walked to the viewing window and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, an alien armada was destroying human colonies and killing innocent people. His refusal to listen had cost thousands of lives already. Lisa reached into her jacket and pulled out a black folder. She placed it on the command table without saying a word. The general turned around and saw the folder. What is that? Open it, sir. Martinez approached the table and lifted the folder's cover. Inside was a funeral program, professionally printed, on quality paper. His own name was at the top, with his rank and service record. The date of death was listed as today's date. The service location was listed as Memorial Chapel, Earth Naval Academy. The general's hands began to shake as he read through the details. Pallbearers were listed. Morrison, Foster, Walsh, and 3 others. The program even included a photo of him in dress uniform. What is this supposed to mean? His voice was barely a whisper. Lisa met his eyes without flinching. Your epitaph, sir, unless you are willing to listen to what I learned about their real weakness and how we can use it. The general stared at the funeral program, then at Lisa, then back at the program. Around them, the command center buzzed with activity as reports came in of more attacks, more colonies going dark. Tell me everything, Martinez said finally. Tell me how we stop them. Lisa nodded and moved to the tactical display. It will require sacrifice, sir. The kind of sacrifice that turns a mistake into redemption. The general looked once more at his funeral program, then closed the folder. Then let us discuss how to save humanity, Commander Carter, and how to make my death count for something. The next 6 hours passed in a blur of desperate planning and grim calculations. Reports continued streaming in from across the outer rim. Every colony that could still transmit painted the same picture. Massive ships appearing from hyperspace, overwhelming firepower and systematic destruction. Lisa stood at the main tactical display, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls as she built a 3-dimensional model of the enemy fleet. Each ship appeared as a red dot, organized in perfect formation around a central command vessel that dwarfed everything else. The command ship is here. She pointed to the largest red dot at the center. It is roughly 5 times the size of our biggest destroyer. The communication relay will be somewhere in its core, heavily shielded and protected. General Martinez studied the display with tired eyes. He had not slept since the attacks began, and the weight of his mistakes showed in every line of his face. How do we get close enough to damage it? We do not, Lisa said simply. They will see any attack coming from kilometers away. Their weapons can destroy our ships before we get within striking distance. Captain Morrison frowned. Then how do we hit the relay? Lisa changed the display to show communication patterns between the ships. Streams of data flowed back and forth like a spider web with the command ship at the center. We have to make them want us to get close. We have to give them something they want more than our destruction. Colonel Foster looked up from her own analysis. What could we possibly offer them? Surrender, Lisa said. Complete unconditional surrender of all human forces in the sector. The room fell silent. The word hung in the air like a curse. You want us to surrender? Morrison's voice carried disbelief. I want us to pretend to surrender, Lisa corrected. The enemy commander will want to accept our surrender personally. It is a matter of honor for most alien cultures. They will allow our flagship to approach so they can witness our defeat firsthand. Martinez nodded slowly, understanding beginning to dawn in his eyes. And while we are delivering our surrender, we detonate our quantum drive core manually. The electromagnetic pulse will be strong enough to disrupt their relay system if we get close enough, but the ship and everyone aboard will be destroyed. The silence stretched longer this time. Everyone in the room understood what Lisa was proposing. The Defiance was their flagship, their most powerful vessel. It was also home to 800 crew members. There has to be another way, Foster said quietly. Lisa shook her head. I have run every simulation, considered every option. This is the only plan that has any chance of success. And even then, our odds are less than 30%. What about the crew? Morrison asked. Most of the crew will transfer to other ships before we begin the approach. Only a skeleton crew of volunteers will remain aboard. Lisa paused, her throat tight. Someone has to manually overload the quantum drive. The electromagnetic pulse has to be triggered at exactly the right moment, when we are close enough to affect their command ship but before they realize what we are doing. General Martinez walked to the viewing window again, his hands clasped behind his back. How long do we have before they reach the middle colonies? 14 hours, sir. Maybe less. And Earth fleet? Still 10 hours away. The colonies will fall before help arrives. Martinez turned back to the group. So we sacrifice one ship and 800 lives to save millions? Not 800, Lisa said firmly. Most of the crew will evacuate. Only the essential personnel needed to fly the ship and trigger the explosion will stay. Perhaps 50 people at most. 50 volunteers for a suicide mission. Yes, sir. The general looked around the room at his officers. Morrison was staring at the tactical display, calculating ship positions. Foster was reviewing crew rosters, probably thinking about who might volunteer. Everyone understood the weight of the decision. What happens after we disrupt their communication relay? Martinez asked. Lisa brought up a new display showing the human fleet positions. Our remaining ships are hidden in the asteroid fields of 3 different systems. Captain Morrison has been coordinating their positions while we plan this operation. When the enemy fleet loses coordination, our ships will attack from multiple directions simultaneously. 17 ships against 300? 17 ships against 6 separate groups that cannot talk to each other. The aliens will not know which attacks are real and which are feints. They will start shooting at each other in the confusion. Morrison stepped forward. Commander Carter is right. I have seen this kind of communication breakdown before. When different species try to work together without a common language, any disruption causes chaos. Martinez nodded and walked back to the command table. The black folder with his funeral program still lay where Lisa had placed it. He picked it up and opened it again, reading his own obituary. There is something else, Lisa said. Something I did not mention before. What? While I was monitoring their fleet, I also worked on their communication protocols. I have developed a computer virus specifically designed to target their translation algorithms. Foster looked up sharply. A virus? When we broadcast our surrender, the virus will be hidden in the transmission. The moment they lower their shields to accept our surrender, the virus will spread through their entire network. Combined with the electromagnetic pulse, it should completely shut down their ability to coordinate. The general closed the funeral program and set it down. How confident are you in this virus? 60% chance it will work as designed. But even if it fails, the electromagnetic pulse alone should disrupt their communications long enough for our attack to succeed. Martinez looked around the room one more time. Recommendations? Captain Morrison spoke first. The plan is desperate, but it might work. Our conventional weapons cannot match their technology. We need something unexpected. Colonel Foster nodded. Agreement. The outer colonies are already lost. If we do nothing, the middle colonies will fall too. Earth fleet will arrive to find nothing but debris. Lisa waited for the general to make his decision. She could see him weighing the options, calculating the cost and lives against the potential to save millions more. Who volunteers for the suicide mission? Martinez asked finally. I do, Lisa said immediately. This is my plan. I should be the one to execute it. No. The general's voice was firm. You are too valuable. You understand their technology better than anyone. You will be needed to coordinate the attack after the communication relay is destroyed. Then who? Martinez looked down at the funeral program again. I will captain the Defiance on her final mission. It is my mistake that allowed this attack to happen. My pride that cost so many lives. I should be the one to fix it. Lisa started to protest, but the general held up his hand. This is not open for discussion, Commander. I will take the Defiance to the enemy command ship. You will coordinate the fleet attack from Captain Morrison's ship. Martinez straightened his uniform and assumed the bearing of a career military officer. Now let us prepare to save humanity. The next 8 hours transformed the UES Defiance from a warship into a funeral pyre waiting to be lit. Crew transfers happened quickly and quietly, with most personnel evacuating to other vessels in the small human fleet. Those who remained did so by choice, volunteers who understood they would not be coming home. Lisa worked frantically in the intelligence center, finalizing the computer virus that would accompany their surrender transmission. The code was elegant in its simplicity, designed to exploit the same translation protocols that allowed 6 alien species to communicate as one fleet. Status report, General Martinez called as he entered the center. He wore his dress uniform, now the formal attire appropriate for delivering humanity's surrender to an alien commander. The virus is ready, Lisa replied without looking up from her screen. It will embed itself in the surrender transmission and spread through their network the moment they accept our communication. The code targets their translation algorithms. Specifically, will it work? Lisa finally turned to face him. Honestly, I do not know. I have never tested it against real alien systems. But the theoretical framework is sound. Martinez nodded. And the manual detonation system for the quantum drive? Sergeant Mike Torres and his team have rigged the core for manual overload. When you give the signal, they will have exactly 90 seconds to trigger the explosion and get to minimum safe distance. There is no minimum safe distance on a ship, Commander. No, sir. There is not. The general walked to the viewing window, where the alien fleet was now visible as tiny points of light against the stars. They had emerged from hyperspace 2 hours ago, their massive formation moving steadily toward the middle colonies. Any word from the colonies? Hamilton Station and Riverside are evacuating what civilians they can, but most people will not make it out in time. Lisa's voice was tight with controlled emotion. The alien fleet will reach them in 6 hours. And Earth fleet? Still 4 hours behind the enemy. Too late to help. Martinez turned back to her. Then we are all that stands between them and Earth. Yes, sir. The general walked to the main display where the alien fleet formation rotated slowly. The command ship sat in the center like a metallic mountain, surrounded by hundreds of smaller vessels arranged in perfect geometric patterns. Beautiful in a way, he said. Their coordination is flawless. 6 different species working as one mind. It is also their weakness, Lisa reminded him. Perfect coordination requires perfect communication. Disrupt the communication and the coordination fails. Assuming our plan works. Assuming our plan works. Martinez activated his communicator. All stations, this is the General. Prepare for final approach. All non-essential personnel to evacuation stations. Around the ship, the last crew transfers began. Lisa watched through the internal monitors as people said their goodbyes, knowing they might never see each other again. Some cried, others maintained military composure, but all understood the weight of what was happening. "Commander Carter," the general called, "it is time for you to transfer to Captain Morrison's ship." Lisa shook her head. "I am staying, sir. You will need someone who understands their communication systems when we get close to the command ship." That was not the plan. Plans change. Lisa met his eyes steadily. "You said it yourself. I understand their technology better than anyone. If something goes wrong with the virus transmission, you will need me here to fix it." Martinez studied her for a long moment. "This is not about guilt, Commander. You warned us. You did your job. This is about finishing what I started. I discovered their weakness. I should be here to exploit it." The general nodded slowly. "Very well, but you will transfer to the escape pods the moment we trigger the detonation sequence." "Understood, sir." The Defiance began moving toward the alien fleet, its engines pushing the massive ship forward at 1/4 speed. They had painted white, surrender symbols on the hull and disabled all weapon systems. To the aliens, they would appear to be a defeated enemy, coming to beg for mercy. "Incoming transmission from the alien command ship," Lieutenant Walsh reported from the communication station. "They are hailing us." "Put it through," Martinez ordered. The main screen flickered and displayed an alien figure that made everyone in the room take an involuntary step backward. The creature stood nearly 3 meters tall, with 4 arms and skin that looked like polished metal. Its eyes were deep red, and when it spoke, its voice carried the sound of grinding machinery. "Human vessel," the alien said in perfectly translated English. "I am Admiral Thex Vaughn of the Hegemony Fleet. You will approach our command ship and prepare to surrender unconditionally." General Martinez stepped forward. "Admiral, I am General Paul Martinez, commander of human forces in this sector. We wish to discuss terms." The alien's laugh sounded like breaking glass. "There are no terms, human. You will surrender completely or be destroyed. Choose quickly." "We choose surrender," Martinez said, his voice heavy with false defeat. "We request permission to approach your command ship to deliver our formal capitulation." "Admiral," Thex Vaughn studied the human general through the screen. "You may approach. Any attempt at deception will result in immediate destruction. Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded." The transmission ended. "Lower shields," Martinez ordered. "And prepare the surrender transmission package." Lisa's fingers flew over her controls, embedding the virus into what appeared to be a formal surrender document. The code hid itself within the diplomatic protocols, invisible to casual scanning, but ready to activate the moment the aliens accepted the transmission. The Defiance continued its approach, now only 50 kilometers from the massive alien command ship. Up close, the vessel was even more intimidating, its hull covered in weapon ports and shield generators that could vaporize a human ship in seconds. "Transmission ready," Lisa reported. "The virus is embedded and armed. Sergeant Torres. Status. On the manual detonation system." Torres's voice came through the intercom from the engineering section. "Ready to go, sir. On your signal, we can trigger overload in 90 seconds. The alien command ship filled their viewing screen now, its dark hull bristling with technology beyond human understanding. Smaller ships surrounded them on all sides, their weapons trained on the Defiance but not firing. "They are scanning us," Walsh reported. "Deep scans looking for weapons or deception. Let them scan," Martinez said. "They will find exactly what we want them to find. A defeated ship carrying nothing but surrender documents." Lisa watched her instruments as the alien scans passed over their ship. The virus remained hidden within the transmission package, undetected by their security systems. The manual detonation charges appeared on their scans as normal maintenance equipment. "Admiral Thex Vaughn is requesting immediate transmission of our surrender documents," Walsh said. Martinez looked at Lisa. "Ready?" "Ready, sir." "Send the transmission." Lisa activated the surrender package, sending it toward the alien command ship. Hidden within the diplomatic protocols, her virus began its journey into the heart of the hegemony's communication network. "Transmission sent," she reported. "Virus is now spreading through their system." On the main screen, Admiral Thex Vaughn appeared again, reading through the surrender documents with obvious satisfaction. "Your surrender is accepted, humans. Prepare to be boarded. Your species will serve the hegemony well as slaves." "Now?" Torres asked through the intercom. Martinez looked around the command center one last time. 90 seconds to manual detonation. All hands to emergency stations." "Sir," Lisa said quietly, "it has been an honor serving with you." "The honor was mine, Commander. Now let us show these aliens what humans do when they are backed into a corner." The general activated the ship-wide intercom. "All hands, this is General Martinez. In 90 seconds we will show the galaxy that humanity does not go quietly into the dark. For Earth, for the colonies, for everyone we could not save." The countdown began, and the Defiance continued its approach to the alien command ship, carrying death in its heart and hope in its mission. 60 seconds. Lisa watched her computer screen as the virus spread through the alien communication network like wildfire. Green indicators showed the infection spreading from the command ship to the outer vessels, each new connection bringing more of the fleet under the virus's influence. "Status report," General Martinez called, his voice steady despite the countdown running in everyone's head. "Virus deployment at 70% and climbing," Lisa replied. "Their communication network is more interconnected than I hoped. The infection should reach all ships within 30 seconds. Admiral Thex Vaughn's image dominated the main screen, still reading through the surrender documents with obvious pleasure. He had no idea that death was approaching his command ship at several thousand kilometers per hour. 40 seconds. "Sir, the aliens are beginning to lower their defensive screens," Lieutenant Walsh reported. "They are preparing boarding parties." "Perfect," Martinez said. "Let them get comfortable." Lisa's screen showed the virus reaching critical mass within the alien network. The code was working exactly as designed, embedding itself deep within the translation protocols that allowed 6 different species to coordinate their attacks. 30 seconds. "Sergeant Torres, final status check," the general called. "Quantum drive core is ready for manual overload, sir. Charges are in place and armed. On your signal, we detonate." Lisa looked around the command center. Most of the crew had evacuated, leaving only essential personnel to carry out the final mission. Those who remained were volunteers, people who had chosen to sacrifice themselves for humanity's survival. 20 seconds. "Admiral Thex Vaughn is requesting visual confirmation of our senior officers," Walsh said. "He wants to see us surrender in person." "Grant his request," Martinez ordered. "Let him have his moment of triumph." The general stepped in front of the main camera, his dress uniform immaculate, despite the desperate circumstances. "Admiral, we are prepared to surrender all human forces in this sector unconditionally." The alien commander's metallic face showed what might have been satisfaction. "Excellent. Your species will make useful servants once properly trained." 10 seconds. Lisa's screen flashed green across the board. "Virus deployment complete, sir. All enemy ships are infected. Torres, trigger the detonation." Detonation sequence initiated. 60 seconds to overload. On the screen, Admiral Thex Vaughn suddenly looked confused. Alarm signals began sounding on his bridge as his crew discovered the virus spreading through their systems. "What is this? What have you done?" the alien admiral demanded. General Martinez smiled grimly. "We have given you exactly what you deserve, Admiral. A lesson in human ingenuity." The Defiance was now less than 10 kilometers from the massive command ship, well within the electromagnetic pulse range that would devastate the alien communication systems. Around them, the hegemony fleet began to realize something was wrong. 40 seconds to detonation. "Sir, enemy ships are trying to raise their shields, but the virus is preventing coordination," Walsh reported. "Their commands are being scrambled." Before they reached the ship systems, Lisa watched as chaos spread through the alien fleet. Ships that had moved in perfect formation moments ago were now drifting out of position, their crews unable to communicate effectively with each other or their command structure. This is impossible. Admiral Thex Vaughn raged on the screen. How? Did you penetrate our security? 6 species, 6 languages, 6 different ways of thinking, Lisa said, stepping into view of the camera. Your greatest strength was always your greatest weakness. You just needed someone to point it out. 20 seconds. The alien command ship's weapons began charging, but without coordinated fire control, the targeting system struggled to lock onto the approaching human vessel. The virus was causing translation errors between the weapons operators and the tactical computers. All human ships, this is General Martinez, the general announced on a fleet-wide channel. Begin attack pattern Omega. Hit them hard while they cannot coordinate their response. From hidden positions throughout the asteroid fields, 17 human ships suddenly appeared on the tactical display. They moved in perfect coordination, striking at different parts of the alien fleet simultaneously. 10 seconds. Sir, escape pods are ready for immediate launch, Torres reported. You and Commander Carter need to evacuate now. Negative, Martinez replied. I am staying to ensure manual detonation if the automatic systems fail. Lisa made her own decision. I am staying too, sir. If the virus needs adjustments during the pulse, someone needs to be here to make them. 5 seconds. Admiral Thex Vaughn realized what was about to happen. His red eyes widened as he understood that the humans had never intended to surrender. You are all insane. You will destroy yourselves. Yes, General Martinez said simply. We will, but we will take you with us. The quantum drive core reached critical overload. The explosion began in the heart of the Defiance, a ball of pure energy that expanded outward at nearly the speed of light. The electromagnetic pulse hit the alien command ship first, washing over its hull like a wave of invisible fire. Every electronic system on the massive vessel died instantly. The lights went out, the shields collapsed, and the communication arrays that had connected 6 species across hundreds of ships went silent forever. The pulse continued expanding, reaching the escort ships surrounding the command vessel. One by one, their systems failed as the electromagnetic wave overwhelmed their electronics. The carefully coordinated hegemony fleet became hundreds of individual ships floating blind and deaf in space. In the moments before the Defiance was consumed, by its own explosion, Lisa saw her virus complete its work. The alien communication network collapsed entirely, leaving 6 different species unable to talk to each other or coordinate their actions. The human fleet struck like avenging angels, their weapons finding targets that could not call for help or coordinate their defenses. Captain Morrison led the attack from his destroyer, hitting the larger alien ships while they struggled to restart their systems. Without communication, the alien fleet began firing on anything that moved, including each other. The Zephyrian ships could not tell their Corvaxi allies from human attackers. The hegemony forces started fighting among themselves as confusion and panic spread through their ranks. Admiral Thex Vaughn's command ship, its massive bulk now powerless, and drifting, became a target for its own escort vessels. The aliens fired on their own flagship, thinking it had been captured by human forces. Within an hour, the mighty hegemony fleet was in full retreat. Ships limped away in different directions, each species fleeing independently without any coordination or mutual support. The alliance that had seemed so powerful was revealed to be fragile, held together only by technology that humans had learned to defeat. 3 weeks later on Earth, the memorial service for General Paul Martinez filled the largest auditorium at the Naval Academy. Representatives from every surviving colony attended, along with thousands of military personnel and civilian families, whose lives had been saved by the sacrifice of the Defiance. Lisa Carter, now wearing the insignia of a full general, stood at the podium with the same black folder that had started everything. She opened it to reveal the funeral program that had predicted this moment, but also a handwritten note tucked inside. General Martinez asked me to read this, she announced, to the assembled crowd. To Commander Lisa Carter, you were right about everything. I was wrong about everything. Thank you for teaching an old soldier that wisdom comes from listening, not commanding. The dead forgive, but the living must remember. She paused, looking out at the faces of people who owed their lives to a plan born from desperation and executed with courage. The hegemony fleet is scattered and broken. Their alliance has collapsed and they will not threaten human space again for years to come. We won this battle not with superior weapons or greater numbers, but with the one thing that makes us human, our ability to see patterns, adapt quickly, and never give up hope. Lisa closed the folder and stepped back from the podium. In the front row, Captain Morrison, Colonel Foster, and Lieutenant Walsh stood at attention, the surviving officers who would carry the memory of this victory forward. Outside the auditorium, humanity continued building, exploring, and reaching for the stars. The colonies were being rebuilt, the fleet was being expanded, and new generations of officers were learning that sometimes the greatest victories come from the greatest sacrifices. The funeral program had been wrong about one thing. General Martinez's death had not been the end of anything. It had been the beginning of humanity's true expansion into the galaxy, armed with the knowledge that no alliance was too strong to be broken by human determination and ingenuity. In the by vast darkness of space, where the wreckage of the Defiant still drifted among the debris of alien ships, a new chapter in human history had begun, and somewhere in that darkness, the spirit of every person who had ever refused to surrender without a fight was finally at peace.